Hello, good day. So the topic we want to do now is a three-in-one topic known as perimeter and area. It is a three-in-one topic known as perimeter and area, and it is very key. It is important that we try to differentiate between the two. Most people usually confuse perimeter with area and area with perimeter. So knowing the key difference between the two will help in solving any question that arises from either perimeter or area. So the basic difference is this, as I will be highlighting it from the prepared note in my front. Uh, a perimeter is the distance around the outside of a chip. A perimeter is the distance around the outside of a chip. I will highlight it for you to see so that you understand the definition. A perimeter is the distance around the outside of a chip, while an area is the amount of space inside the chip. An area is the amount of space inside a chip. So if we want to calculate the perimeter for this square, the square you are looking at, the, to calculate perimeter and area, we normally use formulas. To calculate perimeter and area, we normally use formulas. So the formula for perimeter of a square is as highlighted here, and it is P is equals to 4L, which is equals to, it means 4 multiplied by L. So you'll be given L, the L is the length here, the L is the length here. You'll be given, and anything you are given is what you will now use to multiply for. For instance, if this is 10, if the length here is 10, so your perimeter will be equals to 4L, which is equals to 4 times 10. Then it will be equals to 40. Perimeter will be 40. And you'll be given in unit, maybe in centimeter. Of the 10 will be given in centimeter, or it will be given in meter. It depends. So anytime, any day, the formula for calculating perimeter of the perimeter of a square is always P is always perimeter is equals to 4L. The L there is length, as I have said, is length. So that is that for square. Now let's move to rectangle. The perimeter of a rectangle. If you want to calculate the perimeter of a rectangle, there is also a formula, and this is the formula. The formula, no, the properties. It's also very, very important to know the property of a square. I didn't start with that, so let me quickly go back to that. The property of a square is a square usually has four equal sides. A square usually has four equal sides. You need to know that. And that is why to get the distance around the outside of it, to get the distance around the outside of it, that's why we are even using 4 times L. That is the length. If this is 10, this place will be 10, this place will be 10, this place will be 10. Even without using formula, you can know that the perimeter is 40. Because we say perimeter is the distance around the outside of a chip. So now that is that for square. For rectangle, the property of a rectangle is that a rectangle usually has a length and a breadth. The breadth is also known as width. If you don't want to call it breadth, it's either you call it width or breadth. For a rectangle, the short side, there are two short sides on a rectangle, while there are two long sides. The two short sides can be called a width or a breadth. It depends. So those are the two names. But for the purpose of what we are doing here, let's call it width, as it is used there. Let's call it width. So the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle is always perimeter is equals to 2 into bracket of length plus width, which is the same thing as 2 into bracket of 2 length plus 2 width. So that is the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. So even under here, you'll be given with the width. Let's assume is 5. This is 10. So to calculate the perimeter, you say perimeter is equals to 2 into bracket of length plus width. P will now be equals to 2 into bracket of 10 plus 5. P will now be equals to 2 times 15. Anyway, I'm using a disappearing pen. We'll still solve questions later. We'll solve questions later. So that's just for example. Now let's move to triangle. Calculation of perimeter of a triangle. Calculating the perimeter of a triangle is similar to the calculation of perimeter of square and rectangle. Reason is, all we are just doing is adding the sides. Adding the sides. We say a perimeter is the distance around the outside of a chip. So the outside of the chip here is this. These are the outside of the chip. So to get the perimeter, we just say P is equals to A plus B plus C. Because the triangle has three sides. Because the triangle has three sides, it then means a pentagon. A pentagon. A pentagon is any polygon with 5 sides. For a pentagon, any polygon with 5 sides, to get the perimeter, let's say A plus B plus C plus D plus E. So an hexagon, which is a polygon with 6 sides, the perimeter will be A plus B plus C plus D plus E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus F. So that is how we calculate what? Perimeter. It's just a matter of adding the edge, the distance around the outside of a chip, the distance around the outside of a chip. That is what perimeter is all about. That is what perimeter is all about. What we are doing now is just basic explanations. So in other tutorials, we try to solve questions on perimeter of square, perimeter of rectangle, and perimeter of triangle. As I have said earlier, an area is the amount of space inside a shape. That is the basic formula for area, which you need to know. An area in mathematics, you don't need to know you don't need to, you don't need to, your definition does not need to be all that long in mathematics. So just know that an area means the amount of space inside the shape. And what does that mean? Yeah, everything here, the addition of all this place, the addition of everything inside of here is what makes up the area. The addition of everything inside here is what makes up the area for the area of a rectangle. For area of a square, the total of the inside, as I have shaded. For area of a rectangle, the total of the inside, as I have shaded here, is what makes up the area. While here, the total of the inside, as I have shaded here, is what makes the area. And so we have to calculate an area too. You also need you need formulas. So the formula for area of a square is always equal to area. The formula for area of a square. Sorry, my highlighting pen. The formula for area of a square is always length raised to power of 2. Just know that area of a square is always length raised to power of 2. So that means if you are given 20 here, for you to get the area, you say area is equals to L raised to power of 2, which is equals to 20 raised to power of 2, which is equals to 400 when multiplied. 20 times 20 should be 400. So the another thing you should know is area is usually given in centimeter square. To be given in centimeter square or meter square. Perimeter will come in centimeter per meter, while area, always note that in your answer, the area will come in centimeter square or meter square, depending on the unit you are given. So we'll solve questions later on the area of a square. So for area of a rectangle, just multiply the length and the width. For us to calculate the area of a rectangle, all we usually do is we say area is equals to length multiplied by width. It's not, it is a bit different from the calculation of perimeter. While perimeter is equals to 2 into bracket of length plus breadth. Area is always equals to length times breadth, or length times width. I told you that the width can also be called breadth. So we'll solve questions on area of a rectangle too later. Now let's move to area of a triangle. Area of a triangle anytime, any day is always equals to half base times height. One thing in mathematics is you really need to um, learn a lot of formulas by heart. Let me put it simply that way. To be successful in maths, to make it in mathematics, to be a good mathematician, you need to learn a lot of formulas by heart. Although there are times that you can apply shortcuts for the formulas, there are times you can apply little tricks, but it is always good, and the best practice is to create time to learn formulas in mathematics. Under here now, we are in my front here. I have 4 different formulas that you really need to learn. 4 formulas you need to learn that you should be able to write by yourself. And for you to know that is, by looking at it in a prepared note does not mean that I cannot write it. Let me go to another page and write them for you to see, just for you to know that I can write it without even checking the notes. So I started with, I said perimeter. Let me change to a pen. Okay, so the topic we are doing is perimeter and area. So we talked about 3 shapes. One, one, square. And we said the perimeter is 4L. Perimeter of a square is 4L. And we say area is L raised to the power of 2. Very large. So number 2, we talked about rectangle. Talk about rectangle. I'm sorry. About rectangle. Oh yeah. About rectangle. And we say the perimeter of a rectangle is always equal to 2 into bracket of length plus breadth or width, depending. And we say area is equals to length times breadth. So and then the third one talked about the triangle, and I told you that the perimeter is A because it has 3 sides plus B plus C, and that the area and that the area is half base times height. So anyway, what I quickly just did is for you to know that my looking at it from a prepared note does not mean I cannot write it. Let's go back to our discussion. So uh, thanks so very much for listening. I really appreciate your time. So we'll solve questions in our next tutorial. We try to solve questions on everything we have done. Thanks very much. I appreciate your time. Bye.